been a while. We've been gone a while, had some things going on. And most of us are stuck at home right now with this lovely pandemic stuff. But we still have to eat our supper, and we're going to turn tonight to our book. And we're going to do this one for men. I'm not sure why this is called this, but it's called the Mens Casserole.
Not Mens Casserole.
No, men's, not man's, men's. And the person who did this one out of our Argus Searchlight Cookbook is Bessie Lam.
Bessie Lam
Stauffer. Stauffer. Stauffer.
Stauffer. Okay. I guess you could pronounce it either
Trotwood, Ohio. Not even in Illinois.
Yeah, she must have lived there at one time or another.
Probably. Okay, and we're gonna get this. Not like I said, I'm not sure why this is called a men's casserole, because I think if it was a man's casserole, it would have meat, and meat. This one actually has fruit and vegetables. But it's a men's casserole. We'll see. And we have all our ingredients lined up over here, ready to go. This one is made with ground beef, 1.5 pounds of ground beef. Then you need to chop a medium-sized onion, some mango. It says chop a mango. It doesn't say what size, so as much as you want, whatever amount you want in it. 2 cups of dry pasta, then cook it. We've already done that. 1 cup of mushroom soup. About 1 can. I'd say mushroom soup. 1/2 cup of milk. And then the only spices that are in here are salt and pepper and thyme. And then it has peas, cheese, and eggs. Those are all of our ingredients, and we'll show you how to put those together. And we're going to start by sauteing our first 3 ingredients. That's the ground beef, the onion, and the mango. They were cooked with mango, so this should be different. So we're going to take this and this over here. And we are going to turn our burner on. We will need to do some browning later, so I have pre-done, preheated the oven to 350. So when you start, if you have a pan that can go from stovetop to oven, that's the best to use. This one will go right into the oven when it's done, when it gets to browning time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to brown our first 3 ingredients: the meat, the onion, and the mango. We're going to put the meat in the pan. Turn the pan on. The onion. Stick with mangoes, it's going to be interesting. These are our first 3, and we're going to saute these until all the meat is browned. So it'll be a couple minutes. And the magic of our camera, we'll have browned meat. In about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Alright, all of our meat is brown, and I just drained off some of the fat. It doesn't say whether or not to take the grease off of it, but I did. And now we're going to move on to the next step, which is we are going to add the noodles and the soup, the milk, and all the seasonings. Okay. So I'm going to take the soup and put it in the milk. I can mix it a little bit. so it mixes in better. And it just says mushroom soup. I'm going to assume it's cream of mushroom soup. I'm just going to mix it in the milk so that it's all together. It comes out better that way. And then we need 2 teaspoons of thyme. Look, we're getting thyme.
Does this need sugar?
That's a lot of time.
Women wish men had more time.
So I got thyme in there. And it does say to salt and pepper to taste. There's no thing, so we'll take that over there. Probably might work a little bit better mixing it in. I'm just mixing it, doesn't say it, just says add. So I'm just putting it all in the soup. And the milk. Okay, we'll take the salt and pepper over here and the noodles and our sauce. And we are going to mix all of it. Whoops, I missed one. It also doesn't specify what kind of noodles. You can probably use whichever kind you want. Since it's called the Mens, I asked my husband what kind and he said to use the shells. So we are using the shells. And now this. It's not curdles or anything, it's the mushroom. She doesn't look too bad right here, but it has a few more steps to it. Put some salt and pepper on here. I'm just going to go across the top and then stir it in. You can always put salt and pepper on the table. Yeah. There it goes. Stir that in there. And then we're going to turn the heat down because it's going to have to simmer. But I still have a couple more ingredients, so I'm going to turn the heat down. Then we have to add is, up here we have added everything except the frozen peas. Put some frozen peas in there. It also doesn't specify how big a bag of peas we need. So these peas are frozen, I'm putting them all in. Okay, so we have our frozen peas in there, which will add water. And what else do we need? And that's it. We're going to let it simmer with a cover on, without a cover on it for half an hour. So now we're going to leave this here, turn the heat down to a simmer. Let's get those peas in there so the water.
That's a mess of peas.
It is a mess of peas. It's for a mess of men, apparently. What? Okay, so that's all in there. We're going to let that go. And we're going to set our timer for half an hour. doesn't say to look for anything or anything. It just says simmer for half an hour. And then there'll be another step before we're even done.
And we'll be back.
Back. It's been 30 minutes, we've cooked it. One thing I do want to mention is while it's simmering, make sure that you come back every now a few minutes and give it a little stir so it doesn't burn to the bottom. Plus you want to make sure all the frozen peas break up. Okay, the next step we have to do is cheese and eggs. It says to put 3 well-beaten eggs on there.
Yes, they're defeated.
And
They've
there's
been beaten.
no amount of cheese, we just have to cover the top. So we're going to put a little cheese on there, then we're going to add the eggs, which we've already broken in this bowl, and we've beaten them. We're going to put a little cheese on here. And it doesn't specify, so we are using cheddar jack cheese. Shredded cheddar jack cheese.
Men's
Whatever you want.
cheese.
Yep. Okay, so this is well beaten. Spread it around. Yeah, my pan needs a new pan. And this is where you have 2 things you can do. You can either leave it sit here on the stove and let it simmer until all the egg and the cheese is melted and cooked, or you can put it in the oven and let it brown in there, let it go in there. It really doesn't say what temperature to set it oven at, it just says brown in the oven. So we have preheated our oven, so now we've covered the top with cheese. Cheese down. And we're going to put this whole thing in the oven. Let's turn our burner off. And we're going to open this. I'm going to put this in the oven like so, and maybe 5 minutes, check it and see how it's doing. Let's set our timer. And don't forget, when you did step away for 30 minutes, when you get back, wash your hands before you start again, which is what we did just before we came on. So.
We'll be back.
Okay, our timer has gone off. We did add more time to the timer because it didn't look quite done after 5 minutes. So we added another 5, so 10 minutes. And now it looks like everything is solid, almost like a pie. There you go. Turn the oven off. It's, remember it was in the oven, don't grab the handle. And we'll see. You want to make sure that when you have it that your egg is cooked. And it looks like, based on the way this is cooked. It's pretty solid. So we're going to go ahead and dish her out and see what we got. Doesn't say anything about plating or serving or anything like that, so not sure how we're supposed to do this. But looks like pie. I'll cut it like pie.
Men's
Oh,
pie.
look at that. It's actually quite solid. I'm going to put it in a bowl. Let's get to the bowl. Ah! I didn't
Yeah,
cut
you
it.
put the cheese on the bottom.
Remember that your pan has been in the
hot.
oven. I burned myself. Okay. Alright, sorry. I didn't mean to put the cheese on the bottom. I had it all set and then I grabbed the handle. Don't do that. Get some aloe. Do that in a minute. Alright, well, it doesn't look as well as I wanted because I dropped it in the bowl. But it looks like it would sit up like a piece of pie or a piece of cake or something. You know? So, here we go. Let's get some cheese on there.
Careful, it's hot.
This is the pan. Don't grab the pan. Alright, meat, noodle, cheese. We got it all. And it's hot. It is very hot. That's not bad. That is not bad. Here, I'll give you a taste and we'll get another perspective. I'll give you a noodle too. It might be better with elbow macaronis because grabbing these noodles is kind of hard. I'll give it to you to do it because you're going to have to cool that. To your taste. What do you think?
Good.
Yeah? Okay, that's from a man's point of view. It's pretty good.
Really good.
While it was cooking, we were sitting there talking that if we had any bacon bits or bacon, we
Yeah, I
could
could
put
use
that on the
bacon.
top, and that would have given it a little bit more of that manly thing. Every time I find a recipe that says Mens Casserole or Mens something, it's always got bacon.
We gotta look when this book was
True.
written
But
too.
I would put a little, maybe that a little bit on the top with the cheese, but make sure not raw, fully cooked, bacon, real bacon. We were gonna try this again one time, but instead of using the noodles, we might try cutting up some potatoes and see how that turns out. And we'll try it that way and see. Because then, to me, a man's meal is meat and potatoes.
Yep. Meat and taters.
So if we're gonna have a man's casserole, we gotta have meat and taters and bacon. And I think that's about it. Remember, when you're cooking, not just because of the viruses and stuff, wash your hands before you start. Wash your hands when you step away. Every single time. Use hand sanitizer after you wash your hands. Okay? And that is all we have. And again, if I can cook this, so can you.
And cut. That's a wrap. You're beautiful, darling. You were beautiful.
Okay.